Hey everybody, did you ever start a project and you were just crushing it in the beginning, only to take a break from it, return to it, and then find that there's suddenly little interest in it? Yeah, I've been there myself, and that little scenario, my friends, is what we are going to talk about today. Because that's right, we are back in the truck. Let's hit it. This is episode number 81 of the All Around Growth podcast. And this is a show where we talk about how and why we are building the lives of our dreams. My name is Rob Kaiser, and I am your host. Today is Thursday, January 21st, 2021. And the title of today's show is The Pond Has Been Overfished. And yeah, I guess we are back to recording every morning. And it might not be every morning. I'm going to, allow myself to not, take a break if I'm feeling stressed. But on the other hand, I feel like I need to commit one way or the other. So, yeah, maybe let's do weekly recordings, because I was trying to figure out how I was going to adjust my schedule anyways to do a weekend recording, because on Saturday mornings I almost get an earlier start helping my parents at market, and on Sunday I go to church and try not to use an alarm clock. I'm pausing because it's sunrise right now at 7:36 a.m. and a red-tailed hawk, juvenile one, flew right in front of my truck this morning, and I am able to share in this beautiful moment with you. So the reason we are back to this recording schedule is I asked for your feedback and you gave it to me. That's important to me, and it matters. This audience matters. You matter. We may be small right now, but we are strong. And we're going places. Our future is bright. So I appreciate you listening. I appreciate your feedback. And I'm going to let this one car pass, and we are going to get right into it. So we began this episode today with the question of, did you ever start a project just crushing it in the beginning, only to take a break from it, return to it, and find out that there's suddenly little interest in it? Okay. That situation, in my opinion, is kind of like fishing. And you got to take all this with a grain of salt, because I'm really not the fisherman. But you'll see why I'm making this analogy as I continue on with today's episode. Now, the project that I'm referring to with my own personal experience is Financial Peace University. And the pond is like the community. And to be even more specific in this example, it's my church community. Now, this community is full of people, many of whom are just like you and I. And many of those people are also ridden with consumer debt, mostly in the form of credit cards and student loans. And I was right there myself. In early 2018, just 2 years ago, I was attending Financial Peace University for the third time. And I was attending it at a local church. I had $23,000 in debt at that time. And I was lucky if I was making twice that. For whatever reason, something finally clicked at that point in time, and I got sick and tired of being sick and tired. So I decided to get serious and work intensely with a financial coach named Joe Maines, who was also the coordinator of that class. Okay. And, if you're interested in financial coaching and this sounds interesting to you, then I would suggest checking out Joe Maines. You can find links to him in the show notes. You can find him online by searching Joe Maines, M-A-N-S, Financial Coaching, JM Financial Coaching, Medina, Ohio. But just go to the show notes. I've linked to him there. And if that is interesting to you, just drop my name to him, because we've got a little agreement worked out that if I can send some people his way, he's going to make it worth my while. And I've decided to start hustling, and I think maybe I will reference this a little bit more often in an attempt to spread the word and help everyone win. Anyways, by late spring of 2018, I'd gotten serious about Financial Peace University, and I think I finally had started to learn what Gazelle Intense meant. I decided to fully engage the program. And in order to do so, the way that I thought it was appropriate was to find a local church of my own. And that I've done more episodes on at great length, finding a church and religion and spirituality. And you can also find links to those episodes in the show notes, episodes 8 and 9, called Spirituality 1.0 and Spirituality 2.0. So in late 2018, early 2019, I found a church. I became a member of a church. I got more involved in the church, and I decided to coordinate a class myself in early of 2020, just last year, because coordinating a class seemed like the ultimate accountability partner, and indeed it was. And I successfully paid off the remainder of my $23,000 in credit card debt in a little less than 18 months in June of last year. So here we are. We are in a church community that's never had a Financial Peace University course. And here is our church community, the proverbial pond. So when I coordinated my first course, I was out there hustling, seeking memberships, and when I cast my proverbial lines for membership, we had 15 members sign up. 15 members took part in the course last year, and I wish I could remember the statistics of how many credit cards were cut up and how much debt was paid off and how much giving started to take place, but I don't. The bottom line is that and this isn't my analogy, this is an analogy that was brought to my attention by someone in the Dave Ramsey Financial Peace Coordinators community online because I was feeling a little bit down. We've only got one person to have signed up for the course this year, and it's not even an online, or it's not even an in-person course, it's a virtual course, because we've got to continually deal with this pandemic. All right. So, rather than feel down about the situation, well, I think when I had reached out to this community a couple weeks ago, I guess, maybe even just last week, I had 0 people that had signed up for the course by the time I reached out to this community. And I got a number of responses telling me not to lose hope, that people had signed up right before the virtual course had taken place. The virtual course wasn't something new, but it certainly gained a lot more traction over the past year. But it's new to me, and I personally would rather meet at the church, and go that route. I do not like this virtual way that we are operating, but all that aside, it seemed like the best way to move forward, because at this point in time, our church isn't even meeting, and the county in which I live, Medina County, here in Northeast Ohio, is still considered to be in a red status as far as the COVID cases are being reported. Okay. So we've got some limitations on how we can interact, at least in terms of the general populace, and with regard to courses like this. I am not letting what's going on affect my life in any big way. And on that note, I've got a minute before I can actually conclude and wrap up this episode, but there's a lot of people in this world right now, friends, family, acquaintances, other podcasters, people that you work with, everywhere, that are going bananas about what's going on right now with the political situation here in the United States. And I personally am not, because, well, I've got half of a cow that I need to pick up over at Lazy L Ranch Meats. And since that's a bit of a drive, when you have some custom butchering done and you're buying a half or a whole cow, it takes a little bit of time and a little bit of planning. And this goes part and parcel with the restructuring of my life, and part of that whole restructuring includes this podcast, and part of the routine that I've gotten into for the past few months has included this show on a daily basis during the weekday. And I tried to change up the schedule, but for a number of reasons, including but not limited to your feedback, we are back to recording in the mornings on the road. And for those of you that have made mention, dare I say complain about the road noise, well, you're either going to have to deal with it or find another podcast to listen to, because this is how it is. And I guess just because there's feedback for the show doesn't mean I'm going to listen to it. Oh boy. But anyways, I appreciate it nonetheless. At any rate, I hope that you have a great day. If you'd like to support the show, just go to the show notes. Go to the very bottom of the show notes. You'll find a link to click to rate and review the notes or the podcast. Give it a 5-star rating, a written review if you feel so inclined. If you've got any questions or feedback, or you want to tell me how much I suck, you can shoot me an email at allaroundgrowth.com, allaroundgrowth@gmail.com. Or better yet, join the community at t.me/allaroundgrowth online, and you can tell me how much I suck there and how much you hate the background noise and, you know, all the things I could do better. I'm sorry. No, I'm not. I'm not sorry at all. Anyways, I appreciate it, guys. This is Rob Kaiser, and you've been listening to the All Around Growth Podcast. Thank you for your time, and have a wonderful day. I sincerely mean that. Have a great day.